Okay then. Well, enjoy my lovely head with a picture on it in lieu of the fact that it's the launch weekend of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. So I have been working on a game called LED Light Extraction Droid with my team Quasar Monkeys. I am based out of Swinburne University and finishing up my double degree. We launched our game on the 8th of November, and we had about 100 or so people who have played it, which is really cool for a student project. But over the year, I have made some observations that are always good to have handy when you are jumping into various projects. So, caveat, this was a capstone game developed in a university environment. However, there are points that you can bring across to teams that are doing part-time or casual-based work. So, 5 points. The first one is pre-production is a must. There are a lot of us who would like to just go to the beach right now and just start building that sandcastle without planning it. And as much as that's a really cool thing to do, it's also a terrible idea for making a game. There are all kinds of things to design. There are all kinds of limitations you have to design around. You've got various people that have various amounts of time and effort and skills in place that you need to plan around to make things work. And if you don't have that all planned out, you're going to be going off in a wild direction and not know what you're doing. So basically, if you're going to take something out of this, whenever you're going to the beach, make sure you have a Gantt chart. All right. You must plan your sandcastles. That's an order. The second point is to incorporate accessibility into early planning. So a lot of the ideas that were in place to making sure that everyone is able to be able to play the game if they have a visual or auditory impairment is to make sure that we've got that planned in advance. You shouldn't be tacking on some accessibility features in the last minute because it's not going to flow well with the entire plan of the game. Put it this way, not everyone can use your accessible ramp, no matter how many times you put the word accessible on it. Make sure you're planning from the beginning and getting people in to test it, which goes on to the third point, test widely and test often. Sorry, but you're not your audience. You don't know what bugs or issues you're going to encounter until they've played it. So having a QA team is important to be able to do all the back end things, but it's also important to have other players come in of various diversities to test your game. Is there something that they're expecting that they can't see? Do they know that from the get-go in the first tutorial room that they're supposed to go through that open door if it's not being pointed at? That is a thing. Just make sure that no matter what happens, that you're always testing it constantly with new people so you gain fresh perspectives and ideas that you can incorporate into your game. Point number 4, it's not just about making a game, it's about people development. Now, for a lot of uni students who can attest to this, it's more get uni done, go get job, which is all fair enough and good. But I guarantee you'll go to your first interview and you'll be reflecting back on making your game and being like, oh, I made game. Yeah, good enough. Well, no. Not that I've recruited much, but I can tell you that if you're not going to talk about how much you developed your own skills in the projects you developed, then what's the point? If your project was meh, then you haven't learned something. For me, I've been developing a lot of tools, a lot of spreadsheet tools that I've actually managed to sort of have other people in my team be able to use and test. And if they're able to sort of take that on board and provide me feedback with that, then I've grown in my particular role. So if you're going to be developing a game, make sure that you're developing yourself as well. And point number 5, last but not least, post-production and retrospection. Every project you're going to go through, even if it's the best planned thing in the world, is going to be your hell for who knows how long. Wouldn't it be nice to go to a nicer hell than the hell that you know in your next project? Well, that's where retrospection comes in. The fact that you can talk with your team about all the processes that have been introduced, developed, gone through over the cycle of the project, you can put in all kinds of feedback, all kinds of more positive tools and features that you want the project team to focus on. It'll make the experience a lot nicer for all your team members coming up within the next 2, 3, 4 projects. The nicer hell is always the best way to go when it comes to continuing in the games industry, because otherwise you're going to burn out, you're not going to enjoy hell, and you're going to go off and make lots and lots of more money in other industries. But goodbye creativity. So that's my 5 points when it comes to my post-launch observations. You can play Light Extraction Droid on itch.io. You can search it up there. Well, the one thing I'll leave you with is just those 5 points again. Playing your sandcastles. Not everyone can use your accessible ramp. Sorry, but you're not your own audience. Your project is meh if you haven't learned something, and go with a nicer hell than the hell you know. Hopefully that's all, played off on you quite nicely. I imagine it would. And hopefully you've enjoyed testing the games. I appreciate you all being lovely humans to moderate.